The Wonderswan is Bandai's handheld, an answer to the Game Boy designed by the Game Boy's creator Gunpei Yokoi, the last major project he worked on before his untimely death. This thing is small, sleek, more pocket friendly than the competition, and only took a single AA battery. There was a black and white original released in 1999 and then the color unit released the next year. The final revision was called a Swan Crystal, with a much improved, though still not backlit screen. The original non-color games play on all units, but of course the color and crystals are the way to go, since you get so many more games to choose from. It's such a nifty little thing. The unique button layout makes it work well in both horizontal and vertical play. The buttons themselves feel alright, though surprisingly the console doesn't have a headphone jack. You'd need to get an adapter for that. It slots in the same port you'd use for the multiplayer link cable. I'm gonna go over the games I own in release order, starting with Gunpei. Named after Yokoi in his honor, this is a video game adaptation of a Kodo Laboratory original 1997 handheld LCD game, Heno Heno. The term Heno Heno comes from Heno Heno Moeji, which describes this exact face right here, which are made of the hiragana characters He, No, Mo, and Ji. There's a bunch of different variations of these kinds of faces. For the Wonderswan version, they changed the game's name to Gunpei, which is a pretty sweet thing to do. So now Gunpei Yokoi's name is used for this neat little title that launched alongside the system that he had worked on before his passing. This game utilizes the vertical screen style. In Gunpei you have a silly story mode with a western theme, some really gorgeous pixel art, and a fun atmosphere where you go on a journey to take down some wanted bad guys by completing puzzles. The gameplay consists of drawing a horizontal line from one side of the screen to the other. Lines will come in from below and you can't let them reach the top. You can swap the line's positions up or down and try to make a connection between the sides. As the lines disappear, you can swap new ones into place and make them join the chain. The more you clear, the more points you earn. It's a very neat and addictive little game, as simple as that. There's endless mode, try to see how long you can go and what your score will be. Stage mode, where you have to clear a set amount of panels. Puzzle mode, where you have to try to find out how to clear the screen using a set amount of lines as fast as you can. Story mode, where you have to clear a certain amount of lines like in stage mode, but there will also be items used by the wanted criminals that you have to deal with. And then there's free mode. It's like endless mode, just that you can never lose. It's a great place to practice the core mechanics of the game before you tackle the other stuff. The game's got a good amount of content and it's such a neat title. I love the look and vibe it has. It's got a lot of character for sure. It's a really great launch title and it fits perfectly for a handheld system like this. Something you can pick up and play whenever, and it works great for long and short sessions. Digital Monster version Wonderswan is a Digimon racing game based on the original handheld devices. It's pretty similar to the Sega Saturn one that came before it. Here you race, train, and feed and take care of a Digimon. How you race it will affect what it digivolves into. There's a bunch of stats that track its happiness, strength, and more. You gotta clean its poops, heal it if it gets injured or sick, and give it food and train it. You can challenge other players by using the link cable accessory and watch your Digimon battle it out. You get emails as you play the game, and there's all kinds of dialogue and battles and challenges. You have a museum where you can see all the Digimon you've had, so there's an incentive to try to evolve different types. The original handhelds worked on real time where you had a speaker which would alert you when your Digimon needs something, though you can mute it if you want. This game instead lets you skip forward in time and race it at your own pace, but it's a really neat game. I can only imagine how much more fun it'd be if you had friends to battle. If you raced Digimon alongside friends and you could hold little tournaments and stuff, it'd be great. But even on its own, it's fun. It's, you know, it's like Tamagotchi just with battling. It's great. Kaze no Klonoa Moonlight Museum is the first handheld Klonoa game. It's sort of ambiguous when it would take place or if it even fits within the timeline, but I guess you could just imagine that it happens during the original game. It's a really well done handheld adaptation, doing a good job at capturing the core gameplay of Klonoa, grabbing enemies, shooting them at others, or using them to jump higher. The game starts with a small girl all alone crying. Klonoa asks what's wrong and she explains that the moon fragments are all gone. Without them, the moon will be pitch black forever. A group of kooky and wacky artists have stolen them and are cooped up in a museum making strange art. They put the fragments inside their paintings and Klonoa has to step into the artwork to get them back. Compared to the PS1 original, this game has a lot more of a puzzle focus. You always need to grab 3 fragments and find the exit that then opens up. Often you need several keys and you push blocks and explore to find what you need to progress. It's a very cozy game. Something about the music freaking vibe of it really grabs me. I mean, it makes sense, I fucking love Klonoa. I beat the PS1 game the first day I got it. It's one of my all-time favorite games now. So playing a charming little handheld side story is just a great time. Some stages also use the vertical alignment, which is interesting. It feels like something they added more to show off what the Wonderswan can do and less for the game's sake, because having a platforming game with a vertical screen layout feels kind of wonky, but it works well enough and it does allow for a slightly different design mentality when it comes to puzzles. So fair enough. While it's not mind-blowingly good or anything, it's a great time and I'm glad I own it. It's actually the only non-color Wonderswan game I have complete in box, but since it's Klonoa I just had to. Interestingly enough, you can see the color games actually have larger boxes. I guess I just wanted to make sure they're differentiated when they're on a shelf. Some color games are backwards compatible with the non-color units, but most aren't. It's pretty similar to the Game Boy and Game Boy Color situation where you had those black cartridges that would work on both and utilize color on the Game Boy Color. The only big difference is that on the Wonderswan every game has the same form factor. I could see how that could get confusing for consumers. Anyways, SD Gundam Emotional Jam is the game I've played the least. I'm a big fan of the Gundam series and I really should give this more of a proper go. It's a turn-based strategy game using cute chibi-fied SD Gundam designs. You move on a tile-based system and when you approach an enemy you get fun little animations showing off the battle. There's 30 missions in scenario mode and you can battle a CPU or friends using mobile suits unlocked in that mode. And it's a neat little game and I should play it more, but I don't have too much to say as of yet. The first color game we're looking at is Goope EX. It's a launch title for the Wonderswan Color, just like the original Goope was a launch title for the regular Wonderswan. Sadly, this one doesn't have the same Western theme or any kind of fun framing like the original did. You don't have any story mode or fun characters to see, no cutscenes or anything. Of course, that's not needed in a puzzle game, but it's one of the things that really made the original Goope stand out to me. The fact that it had such gorgeous pixel art and fun designs and art style, that extra effort made the game far more endearing. Goope EX features endless mode, stage, puzzle, and free mode from the last game. While we are lacking the story, it does have a new time attack mode. Choose between 2 and 5 minutes and score as high as you can within the time frame. It's a great mode to just pick up and play if you know you just have a short bit. We might not have the fun characters, but the stages and modes feature some really pretty backgrounds. The music and sound effects are really fun. Clearing a row makes a satisfying noise that just adds to the addictiveness of the game. And the colors aren't just for show. You got red, blue, and green lines. Making a line with only one color nets you more points. It's nothing crazy, but it does add a cool new element to getting high scores. It's a very solid game overall, but man, I just find myself missing a lot of the charm and the character that the original game had. At least you have a reason to play both games since they feature unique content. Neither one makes the other obsolete, and the first one is cheaper too, which is great. The next game is developed by who I'm a big fan of. I already made retrospectives on Vibribbon and Parappa, but this game features a brand new character. It's called Rhine Rider Kerorican. Nana Onsha always loved doing unique stuff with their packaging. Parappa has the fold-out map, Jamralami has a CD showing through the cover art, Parappa 2's manual is themed around the burger shop's menu, and here we got this unique box where you lift up the flap and it takes off her helmet. It's just really neat. One weird thing about this game is that you're meant to play it diagonally. As you'd expect, it's a rhythm game. It plays a lot like Vibribbon, where it's about timing the correct button to the corresponding obstacle. Unlike Vibribbon, where you follow a set path based on the song, Kerorican features a track that changes as you play. The more obstacles you clear, the more complex the song becomes. You kick, jump, and sometimes interact with various creatures and objects you find as you skip along to the beat. There's a little bit of plot here as you're fighting against a gang known as the Booster Gang. You get a little intro that tells you which buttons to press for the different enemies. You use any of the Y buttons for these triangle guys. These purple hand dudes you press any of the X buttons, and these light blue guys you kick with A. And as you keep going, there will be more stuff to interact with and react to. It's a really weird control scheme, but it's not hard to get used to. It's such a strange game. You really get the sense that the developers had fun coming up with something truly unique that could only be played on this system. It's not my favorite game of theirs or anything, but it's a fun time. Digimon Battle Spirit is actually one of the first games I got for the system. This also released on the Game Boy Advance. You can play alone or against a friend. It's a kind of platform fighter where you select between various characters from the first 3 seasons of the anime and try to knock out orbs from your opponent. Having more than your enemy at the end is what wins you the match. You jump, punch, grab, and throw. You can also shoot projectiles, you can sprint by double tapping a direction, and if you then do physical attacks, you'll do kind of like a rush attack. There will be other enemies on the stages, and beating them up nets you items you can use, like a clock that will freeze your target for a bit. If you touch this small Digimon, you can then Digivolve, which usually turns you massive and lets you dish out a lot of damage. It seems like it's just random when and where it appears, so it's kind of just luck, and this game is just fine. I think as a kid I'd get a lot of enjoyment out of it, but now it's just kind of alright. It looks and sounds good, but playing it is just not very interesting or satisfying. It's, again, just okay. The last game I got is the final standard release for the Wonderswan line of systems, and what I mean by that is that there were some games released after who were winners of a competition where people used software called the Wonder Witch to create their own games. Winners would get proper physical releases for their games, but in very limited quantity. So the last normal release for the system, and the most expensive game I have for it, was Dragon Ball. Being released so late, it's kind of a pricey game. Thankfully I got a good deal on it. It's one of the only Dragon Ball games that have a story mode that goes from the very beginning all the way through the 23rd martial arts tournament. Much like some of its Famicom predecessors, it's a turn-based RPG that uses cards for combat. Cutscenes play out in a sort of visual novel-esque style where you can interact with characters, look at objects, use items, but thankfully, unlike the Famicom games, there aren't weird dead ends and instant death moments. At least I'm pretty sure, unless I just didn't stumble onto any. How far you move is based on the star count on the Dragon Balls you see on each card. This system is kind of odd. I guess it does add some strategy in which cards you use and when, but it also makes movement feel a bit slow and weird. There are random encounters and designated spots for plot important battles and scenes. The battles involve choosing different cards with different levels of power. You want your power to be higher than theirs. There's both a star count and this little count on the bottom right. Both are important depending on who's attacking and who's defending. There's different moves you do based on the card. Normal physical attacks, special attacks, like for example using the power pole, or key attacks for Kamehameha and such. You can also use healing items to help you, or wear different weighted clothing to reduce speed but increase XP gain. You can choose how many rounds you want the next step of the fight to be, so if you choose 3, you and your opponent both select 3 cards and watch the fight play out. This can help speed up encounters you know you'll win, though if your enemy selects multiple cards, it can lock you out of healing for a couple of rounds. It's a decently lengthy game, so thankfully you can save to the system memory, but that's sort of a temporary solution as other games can override it. You can get a password if you want something more permanent. While the story scenes aren't super detailed, it does hit all the major beats you'd expect in the story. There are also some parts when alternate events happen, like being able to win fights that Goku actually lost, but after that it'll continue to follow the original story path again, just with an alternate little bonus scene. There's some interesting changes, like making Monster Rabbit hang out in West City and trying to take over the Capsule Corp building. It's kind of fun to see. I was also just wandering around West City and I stumbled onto Launch. I hadn't even gone to Mount Frying Pan yet, so this is very early in the story. It's a cool game, but if you want a really spectacular OG Dragon Ball experience, I recommend Advanced Adventure on the GBA. Now that's a phenomenal game. This one though, yeah, it's pretty neat. I have a good time with it. It's nothing crazy, but it does try to do some fun stuff, like having these little first-person dungeons that you explore. While the combat isn't the most interesting, it still is pretty unique, and I overall had a good time playing it. The pixel art is gorgeous, the little combat animations are really fun, and it has a good amount of content. So if you're interested, then definitely check it out. And those are all the Wonderswan games I have so far. I'm sure I'll get more eventually, and if you have any suggestions, please let me know, because I'd love to hear them. And that's all I got for you this time. Thanks for watching.